In mobile technology, it's the same story every single time. The media goes crazy over every hot new device, but after that review period wears off, so does the buzz behind that new toy you might still want to buy, but that now faces new competition. The thing is, in the real world, things don't really happen that way. For most of us, aging is just as important as the moment you unbox your product for the first time. It's how that device performs after extensive use that really matters down the line. So let's do something about it. Let's have a second look at Google's boldest attempt at making its partners its own competitors. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and this is the Google Pixel After the Buzz. I've spent the last couple of months having this odd love and hate relationship with the Google Pixel. After my love affair with devices like the Galaxy Nexus and the Nexus 6P, both the largest phones of their time, I explicitly decided to decline the larger Pixel XL and use the smaller Google Pixel as my personal communicator. For years, this job has belonged to iPhones given the size and reliability, but after 6 months of switching things up, I'll admit I am not regretting my decision one bit. For starters, using a Google phone has advantages that other phones don't offer, and software is one of them. We're currently running Android 7.1.2 already, since software updates are never a problem here. The experience, even after so long, is still smooth, where I can't really remember the time I've ever seen this phone stutter, and where games play great, even if I didn't really buy this phone for that purpose. I know some of you hate the way I arrange icons on the home screen, but the Pixel launcher is really my dream boat when it comes to icon density. For me, having more than 3 panes on a home screen is a problem, and the grid on this launcher is ideal for fitting almost everything that I want in just one screen. And yes, because I know everybody's gonna ask, I do know that this is the first phone to run the Google Assistant, but the most I've ever used it for is really just setting reminders, setting timers, and giving me directions to drive home. For everything else, the Google Assistant is still not compatible with most third-party services that I use, like Uber for example. So until that happens, I will call this a good work in progress, but it is still a work in progress. Now, the second and most important reason that I chose the Pixel as my communicator is Project Fi. In the United States, you get the advantage of seamless transitions between Wi-Fi and 3 US carriers, but it's mostly when I'm abroad that the Pixel is most valuable. I think you've noticed that I travel a lot, and roaming on Project Fi is perfect, not just because of the cost, but because in countries like China, this is one of the few ways you can actually access Google services like if you were still in the United States. And then if you do the math of the $10 a gigabyte of data while roaming, this is actually better than it sounds. See, if you haven't really consumed your US gigs, the roaming ones will continue feeding off your existing plan, meaning it's not starting off another 10 gigabytes. Like seriously, I just spent nearly a month in Europe for MWC and my phone bill was a stupid $56. That's actually cheaper than going for a prepaid SIM in Spain, for example. The third unexpected benefit is that I don't really know how this phone handles battery life, but it rocks. At first I was skeptical at the meager 2770 mAh power pack, but Android 7.1 optimizations have proven to be amazing at being able to keep me connected through a full day of use, and I use this phone a lot. And then the fourth benefit, which is another unexpected one, and it's the experience I've had with this camera. Google said that this was the best smartphone camera in the world, and DSO marks it as that way too. At first I thought that this was just a PR stunt given the hardware, but I'm gonna say that the experience has been awesome so long as you're not picky about lens flares, since Google hasn't really solved that yet. I'm just shocked at how quickly this phone takes a photo, how quick HDR Plus does post-processing in the background, and how well software is able to do things I thought that hardware just couldn't do. I'm a big fan of sunset photography, for example, and I'm just shocked at how well this phone handles dynamic range, saturation, and contrast. And then the same goes for video, where the moment you hit the record button, I still find the effect of instant stabilization to be surreal, even if the phone doesn't include hardware stabilization out of the box. And remember that unlimited Google Drive storage for photos? Well, trust me, I take a lot of them. And I don't know how this phone does it because I have been able to survive just well with 32 gigabytes. And it's really that concept that makes me love this phone the most. In things like the camera and the battery, you really don't need to worry. Just let the phone do its work in the background, which is the way software should be for consumers. Now, what's not so surreal is how the hardware has aged. And notice this would be my first After the Buzz where I leave this portion last. See, the aluminum finish that I praised in my review seems to no longer be so quite black, as areas have faded over time. I carry this phone in a sleeve, and it seems that the inner strap has taken a toll on the chamfers. This phone has also seen 2 very hard drops on tile, and even if the aluminum has handled the falls well, this coloration can be seen everywhere along the chamfers. This is about that time where I recommend that you use a case, and I would suggest these options from VRS Design that even add a kickstand. I am amazed at the fact that even after the 2 falls, the display is still scratch-free, a first with all the phones that I've reviewed. But the downside is that it's really hard to keep it clean, something that's really annoying when you have a phone with bezels this large. About the only thing that's aged well in the hardware department is the company's choice for internals, with 2 2017 flagships already rocking the same processor and even the RAM and storage options. To be fair, and to conclude, let's remember that the Google Pixel is not supposed to be about its hardware. Google is a software company first, and for those of you praising iPhones for how well the software makes forgettable hardware look, this is exactly that in the Android space. So far, I have to admit this is probably one of the most delightful experiences I've had with a smartphone, and notice I'm not just including Android phones on that list. Sadly, the problem is that forgettable hardware is not an easy game to play in 2017. With flagships like the LG G6 and the Galaxy S8 just annihilating bezels and killing it with their new designs, buying a Google Pixel at the same price is kind of a lost battle. If Google decides to drop the price of this phone, I would not mind recommending it at all. But unless your preferences are locked to great software on forgettable looks, you might want to consider the rest of your options for 2017. Friends, just like this, we've got more After the Buzz videos in the pipeline, so make sure you follow us on social media and hit that subscribe button down below for more videos like this one. You can also follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.